to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, we start with our wildlife segment about prairie dogs and how they live across the state. Next, we'll take a look at Mount Mitchell and the upcoming summer event. Then we'll have a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a look at the Spillman Creek Raid and the Trails and Rails event that will be taking place in July. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm back in my kitchen this morning, and I don't know when I have been more happy to see the sunshine. It is just so welcome. It's like winter just dragged on forever and would not let go. And maybe we're through it. Of course, there just doesn't seem to be much transition, does there? We just go from winter into summer, and we get that little bit of spring. I had lilacs on the bushes for the first time this year since I've been here. Before, either the frost got them or the grasshoppers actually were so bad last year. I really do commiserate with those folks with the grasshopper plagues, because our grasshoppers were so bad last year that they killed one of the lilac bushes, little varmints. Hey, just got wagon tracks in the mail. Can you see that there? And that beautiful cover by Craig Ridnour. And I actually rode down to, where was it? Oklahoma City, is that where he lives? Rode down with Joanne Van Coveren, who is the executive director, or the association manager, I guess is the appropriate name, of the Santa Fe Trail Association. Rode down and actually picked up that original work of art. So this is the official publication, comes out quarterly, of the Santa Fe Trail Association. And if your wagon tracks did not arrive in the mail, I'm sure it's because you are not a member of the Santa Fe Trail Association, and you need to take care of that. Because with the 200th anniversary coming up, there is so much happening all up and down the trail. And if you are located on the actual Santa Fe Trail, if you're one of those towns, or you're a landowner, or you've got some connection to the trail itself, let us know what you've got planned for that year. If you want some help planning stuff or knowing what's going on, contact me and we'll work on that. One of the things we want to stress, too, as we look toward the 200th anniversary, is how we're all connected to the trail somehow. So the trail evolved. For example, when the railroads came through, you had Hayes as a jumping off point for freight. You had later Sheridan, then Kit Carson, Colorado. So the trail evolves. But more importantly, all those towns north and south of the trail are connected to the trail by other trails, by freight lines that are carrying freight to and fro those stopping points. So just because you're not physically located on that road doesn't mean you don't have a connection. So we're looking at the 200th anniversary and making all those connections to all the other places and learning how your community was probably very connected to the history of the Santa Fe Trail. So many things going on. So look up the santafetrail.org and get involved. Hey, I love this. This was actually last month, or can you see that? March, April of Midwest Living. And look at the inside back cover. Can you make that out? And it is about summiting Kansas. So this is a feature on Mount Sunflower, the highest point in Kansas, which is not too far from us here in Oakley, just straight west almost in Wallace County. And of course, Ed and Cindy, who own that property, are so generous in sharing it with folks. but I think the view from Mount Sunflower is pretty darned impressive, and you can sure see for miles and miles and miles. So I think that's pretty amazing. Hey, a couple of things I want to tell you about real quickly. The Fort Wallace Rodeo, 65th annual Fort Wallace Rodeo is coming up Memorial Weekend, so we'd love to see you out there for that. And then we have, again, I think I mentioned the Waukene State Veterans Cemetery. Dr. Jake and his guys do the ride through on Memorial Day. So let us know about your Memorial Day events. Share them on our Facebook page on Around Kansas, and we'll be happy to spread the word. Wherever you are in Kansas, we want people to visit around Memorial Day. We got a great show this morning, so glad you're with us.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
Black-tailed prairie dogs, named for their black-tipped tails and dog-like bark, once lived throughout the Great Plains in towns that extended for miles and contained hundreds of thousands of individuals. The rodents excavate a complex underground system of tunnels and rooms that may be as deep as 15 feet, with horizontal tunnels reaching 10 to 15 feet long. The soil is pushed to the surface to create numerous mounds. They forage throughout the day, with sentinels sitting upright, standing guard as the others feed. When a predator is sighted, the sentinel barks and the entire colony scampers to their protective burrows. Abandoned burrows provide homes for spiders, salamanders, toads, ornate box turtles, snakes, and burrowing owls. Black-tailed prairie dogs live on the high plains from northern Mexico to southern Canada. They are found in short-grass prairies and rangelands of the western half of Kansas. In the spring, females produce a single litter of 2 to 10 pups. They may live up to 8 years. Prairie dogs feed primarily on green vegetation, including grasses, seeds, stems, and the occasional insect. According to Parks and Wildlife Office in Pratt, there is no closed hunting season on prairie dogs and no license required for Kansas residents. There is also no bag limit. A license is required for non-residents. Andy Chappell, wildlife biologist at the Cimarron National Grasslands, said that plague sweeps through the prairie dog population periodically. The last one occurred a couple of years ago, said Andy, and spread like wildfire, leaving less than 2,000 acres of prairie dog towns throughout the more than 100,000-acre park. Other animals, like coyotes who feed on the animals, seem unaffected by the disease. The Cimarron National Grasslands boasts not only prairie dogs, but some stunning western views, truly one of our state's treasures. Their offices are in Elkhart in southwestern Kansas, so give them a call and plan a visit.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
I'm Scott Thellman, and this is Juniper Hill Farms. Even though my parents weren't farmers, they bought this beautiful farm north of Lawrence in 1999. In 2010, I started growing vegetables on this land. Today, Juniper Hill Farm sells produce to wholesalers, grocers, and restaurants, and is focused on growing high-quality food that everyone can afford. Watch my story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. The all-new Better Horses Network.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Well, just another one of our favorite places, because we have them all over the state, all around Kansas, is Mount Mitchell. And again, the altitude of Mount Mitchell might not impress folks that greatly, but let me tell you, when you climb up Mount Mitchell, there near Wamego, and that view of the Flint Hills, the prairies, is spectacular. So this is a place you've got to see, and the good folks at Mount Mitchell have some great events coming up Memorial Weekend too. So we want to make you aware of those, and thank our dear friend Michael Stubbs. Michael, always wishing you the best. Just wish we had more time to visit and to hang out, because time with Michael is always so interesting, and his passion for this place is so important, and he is looking for your support in helping preserve it and the history of the area, an incredible history. So let's take a look at Mount Mitchell and its surrounding community.
It was one of the most dramatic and critical chapters of American history. Heated debate over slavery left the halls of Congress and erupted in bloodshed on the prairies of Kansas. This prelude to the Civil War, Bleeding Kansas, saw pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers struggling for control of the Kansas territory. Through the efforts of local residents and friends known as the Mount Mitchell Prairie Guards, a historic park has been created that ties Wabaunsee County to this pivotal period in our nation's past. Located on a 45-acre hilltop 3 miles south of Wamego, the Mount Mitchell Heritage Prairie Park is dedicated to Captain William Mitchell and the Beecher Bible and Rifle Colony. The property, part of Captain Mitchell's farm, was given to the Kansas Historical Society in 1953 by Mitchell's son. On May 25th, beginning at 9 a.m., the Mount Mitchell Prairie Guards will host the 9th annual Mitchell Farm and Prairie Celebration. The public will have the opportunity to celebrate history, nature, art, and community at the historic Mitchell Farmstead and the Mount Mitchell Heritage Prairie, recognized sites of the National Park Service's Network to Freedom program commemorating the Underground Railroad. Docents will lead wildflower walks beginning at 9 a.m. In addition to the wonders of a springtime prairie, park visitors will have the opportunity to walk in the ruts of the old Topeka-Fort Riley Road used on the Underground Railroad. Tours of the historic Mitchell Log Cabin will run from 9 to noon. The farm, a private residence, is located on Mount Mitchell Road nearby. The log cabin was built by Captain William Mitchell in 1856 and was used soon after to hide enslaved people seeking their freedom in Canada. The home has been recognized by the National Park Service Network to Freedom program as a documented Underground Railroad site of national significance. This year's featured speaker at the farmstead at 11 a.m. will be Dr. Jim Hoy, who will present his program Kansas Legends and Folklore. Visit the website for more information and to join the Prairie Guards and follow the group on Facebook.
My name's Karen Cope and I have multiple sclerosis. When you have MS, on the outside you look great, but you know what's really going on in the inside is chronic body pain, chronic fatigue. And there's lots of days that I'd wake up and say, oh, please God, help me get through this day. You know, after stem cells, Chloe, my youngest daughter, she was asked by my father-in-law, how's your mom doing? And Chloe said, Grandpa, I've never had a mom like this before, because she was 8 when I was diagnosed, and she really had no other memory of me but being sick. It's really the simple things that we do as a family, like play cards, and to be able to win at cards. You know, they all laugh because I used to repeat myself and say, what hand are we on? You know, where are we at? And it's just been really a true blessing from God, and we're really thankful.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Join us at the Butterfield Trail Museum and the Fort Wallace Museum for the Trails to Rails celebration July 12th, 13th, and 14th, as once again Butterfield's Overland Dispatch runs stages on the Smoky Hill Trail from Russell Springs to Pond Creek Station at Wallace. Reliving history is a lot more fun than the folks had making it.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
When I went to the county fair recently, and then again when I go to the state fair, one of the first things that strikes me when I go to the livestock barns is all the noise. This poem is entitled Sounds Fair. As I arrived at the fairgrounds, the first thing that struck me was the variety of sounds I heard in broad cacophony. The bucket calves were bawling, horses neighing head to tail. In the back, the geese were honking, hogs were grunting by the scale. In the pens, the lambs were baying, and the goats were loudly bleating, while people exchanged smiles and called out a happy greeting. A diesel pickup chugged up to discharge its trailer load, while a maintenance man putted by in a gator on the road. There were cries of Mom and Dad as families made their way to put their carefully prepared 4-H exhibits on display. It is project check-in time as the fair is just beginning. The voices of 4-H'ers show their excited hopes of winning. It is an amazing collection of sounds that I hear at the fair as the 4-H'ers' annual projects all appear. Now the roar seems to subside, and there's a lowering of the din as the entries are checked off and the livestock settle in. Our county agent has been hustling all around the grounds. Now he stops to take a breath as the flurry settles down. So what do you hear? I ask as he drops into a chair. Well, he replied, it sounds like a county fair. Happy trails.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, you all know how fond I am of our anniversaries, the 150th, the 200th, all the anniversaries we've been experiencing and will be for the next few years. One of the more tragic stories in Kansas history is that of the Spillman Creek raid in May of 1869. Settlers along the Saline and Solomon rivers were murdered and some captured, and it's just an incredibly tragic story. The good folks of Lincoln, Kansas, of course, again, just one of our favorite places, and we've been involved with so many events there in Lincoln, will be commemorating, celebrating is not the right word, but commemorating those events. So that will be on Friday and Saturday, mostly on Saturday. A lot of hard work has gone into this. A lot of my friends like Marla Mackin, some of the reenactors, I think Tom Leahy, Zerf will be there. Zerf wrote that beautiful song about Susanna Alderdice, who was captured, and so it's just going to be a really wonderful commemoration from that community and its role in an incredibly tragic but important piece of the history of Kansas and the history of the West. So let's take a look at those events of 150
years ago.
A
Fate Worse Than Death, historian Greg McNoe chronicles the stories of Susanna Alderdice and Maria Weichel, captured in the Spillman Creek raid of 1869. Susanna was already a war widow with 2 children when she married Tom Alderdice, a galvanized Yankee. The term refers to those Confederate prisoners of war who were offered the opportunity to serve the Union Army in the West rather than remaining in prison during the war. The couple soon had 2 more children, and Susanna was again expecting. Maria was typical of the German and Swiss immigrants settling the area. Widely regarded as a beautiful woman, she was also part of a well-to-do family and owned several silk dresses as a result. The Indians raiding in the area were mostly Cheyennes, led by Tall Bull. During the last week of May 1869, the raiding party killed 14 civilians. On Sunday, May 30th, they visited Spillman Creek. Maria's husband was killed before her, and she was captured. Susanna's children, save for her babe in arms, were likewise left for dead in front of her. One of her boys miraculously survived, but Susanna would have no way of knowing. Her baby would be snatched away and killed days later. The details of these murders and of those of her neighbors are too horrific to repeat here. Upon hearing the news, Tom Alderdice, who only months earlier had been one of the Forsyth Scouts pinned down in battle with the Cheyennes on the Arickaree, made a piteous plea to the military to find his wife. The raid made national news and spread terror throughout Kansas and neighboring Nebraska and Colorado territory. On the courthouse lawn in Lincoln, a marker bears witness to the victims of the raid and to these women's tragic stories. Bus tours during the Remembrance Weekend will take visitors past the farmsteads that were raided. A reunion of descendants will be held Friday evening. For more information, contact the Lincoln County Historical Museum.
Well, folks, I just can't keep my hair out of my eyes this morning, so I think it's probably time to get over to the beauty salon and get a little trim, isn't it? Have a great day. It's been wonderful being with you this morning. We'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.